Good morning, children. Welcome back to our science class. In today's class, we are going to discuss about human circulatory system. So, let us quickly define what are the learning objectives for today. In today's class, first of all, we are going to define the parts of the circulatory system and the function they perform. After that, we will discuss the composition of blood and we will also be discussing the functions of blood. And after that, we will first of all discuss three types of blood vessels, and then we will be comparing arteries, capillaries and veins. Now, what is circulatory system? Now children, you all know that circulatory system is basically a transport system which is responsible for moving the substances throughout our body, and this takes place with the help of blood. Do you know that in an adult human being, there is about 5.5 liters of blood, and it forms the most amazing transportation system in the body. Now, this blood, it circulates throughout the body in such a way that it reaches each and every cell of the body. And when we compare the parts of the circulatory system, then this system consists of heart, blood vessels and blood. And this blood circulates throughout the body, and during this circulation, it delivers nutrients and other essential materials to cells, and at the same time, it also removes the waste product. We can also call circulatory system as the cardiovascular system. Now, let us quickly discuss what are the functions of circulatory system. As in the previous slide, we have seen that circulatory system is mainly responsible for moving the material throughout the body. That is, it transports nutrient, water and oxygen to each and every part of the body. And at the same time, this system also carries away waste such as carbon dioxide, which is produced in the body. It is basically an amazing highway which travels throughout the entire body, and it is connected to each and every part of the body cell. This system also protects the body against infection. And how it is doing that? It is by destroying the germs which enter the body. This system also helps in blood clotting, and in that way it prevents blood loss. And this system is also responsible for controlling the body temperature. Now let us quickly discuss what are the parts of the circulatory system. Circulatory system has the following components. First one is the heart or the pumping machine. Then the blood, that is the liquid which flows through the blood vessels, and the vessels, that is the tube-like structures in which the blood moves. And these blood vessels are of three types. They are arteries, veins and capillaries. Now let us discuss what is blood. Children, blood is a red colored liquid which is flowing inside the blood vessels. Now this blood has got two components. One is the liquid part which is called plasma, and the other one, that is the cellular parts which are called the blood cells or the corpuscles. When talk about the composition, plasma constitute 55% of the blood, whereas the cellular component, that is the corpuscles, they constitute 45% of the blood. Now let us discuss the composition of plasma first. Plasma is basically a straw colored liquid which is found in the blood. This consists of 92% water. It also contains some ions, and then it contains plasma proteins. The plasma proteins which are found in it include albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. And when you talk about the ionic composition, the ionic composition is the same like that of any interstitial fluid. Coming to the cellular components or corpuscles. There are three corpuscles. First one is red blood cells or RBCs or erythrocytes. That is red blood corpuscles or red blood cells or erythrocytes. Then we have white blood cells or WBCs or leukocytes. And then we have platelets or thrombocytes. Now, let us here also the slide shows the blood vessels. You can see that this is the blood vessel, and inside these blood vessels they have shown the three types of blood cells. The disc, biconcave disc cell are the RBCs, which are looking red, and then here we have WBCs, and then these small you can say the cell particles, these are the blood platelets or thrombocytes. Now let us discuss each one of them in detail. First of all, let us discuss about RBCs. Now I told you that these RBCs are red in color. Now why are they red in color? Because these RBCs, they contain a protein which is called hemoglobin. This hemoglobin is mainly responsible for making the blood red, and function of hemoglobin is to combine with oxygen, and this hemoglobin carries the oxygen to the cells. This hemoglobin bind with the oxygen, so we say that it is a carrier of oxygen. And it would be difficult to provide oxygen to all the body cells if hemoglobin is not present. So if you are being asked why blood is red in color, your answer will be blood is red in color because it contains a red colored pigment, that is hemoglobin. Coming to the shapes of RBCs, RBCs are biconcave cells. Most importantly, they do not have nucleus in humans. And as I told you about hemoglobin, so what as such hemoglobin is? Hemoglobin is an iron-rich protein called iron-rich protein, which gives red color to the RBCs. Now the question, where are these RBCs formed in the body? Now these RBCs are formed in bone marrows. The liquid material which is present inside the bone. Inside that bone marrow, these formation of RBCs takes place. Now coming to the function of RBCs, as we have already discussed, the main function is to transport oxygen from the various tissues and organ. Coming to the second one, that is WBCs or leukocyte. Now WBCs or leukocyte, the most important function of WBCs or leukocytes or white blood corpuscles is that they play very important role in defense mechanism of the body. They help in fighting against infection. They protect the body against any infection of bacteria, virus, parasites, or even from cancerous cell. Next function of WBCs is that they remove any foreign substance such as toxin and waste. Besides this, they also destroy dead and worn out cells. And most importantly, in the inflammation reaction, they participate in the inflammatory and immune response. Now coming to the third one, that is the platelet or thrombocytes. When we talk about platelet or thrombocytes, they do not have nucleus, they are very small in size. The main function of platelet or thrombocyte is that they help in the clotting of blood. For example, if there is any wound, the blood will come out, but after some time you find that the blood stops coming. It is because there occurs the clotting of blood. So this clotting of blood takes place because of blood platelet or thrombocytes. Now, children, let us quickly discuss functions of blood. There are three main functions of blood. First is transportation. What are the things which are transported by blood? These include three things: gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen which the cells take in and carbon dioxide which the cells give out. Both of them dissolve in blood and then they move out of the body. Now, nutrient, that is basically the glucose which is transported to each and every part of the body with the help of the blood. And then the waste such as ammonia, which also need to be removed from the body. This get dissolved in blood and then it is transported out. Second important function of blood is that it regulate. What does it regulate? Body temperature. You know that human beings have a fixed body temperature. Their body temperature does not vary with the surrounding, and this maintenance of body temperature is done with the help of blood. And beside this, the nutrient or the, you can say, the liquid which are present inside the blood, they all have a definite pH, and this definite pH is maintained with the help of the blood. Third major function is protection. Now, how does blood helps in protection? First of all, it helps in clotting, and the part which is responsible for this are the platelets. Second, it helps in fighting against any infection, and that function is performed by WBCs. Now children, let us discuss blood vessels, or you can say the network of tubes which carry the blood throughout the body. So what are blood vessels? Blood vessels are nothing but they are the tube-like structures which carry blood throughout the entire body. There are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Now we are going to discuss each one of them in detail. Coming to the first type of blood vessels, that is arteries. What is the function of arteries? Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and that is they carry pure blood. They carry oxygenated blood. That is the blood which has oxygen present in it, except for the pulmonary artery which carry deoxygenated blood. Apart from pulmonary artery, all the arteries, they carry pure blood from the heart to the body parts. When talk about the thickening of the walls, then arteries are thick wall. Now, what's the reason? The reason is that in arteries, the blood flows at a high speed. So, if arteries are not thick, then there are chances that there occur the oozing of blood from the arteries. So, to prevent that, arteries are very thick. And then arteries, there is lots of elasticity. That is, the walls of arteries are very elastic. Now, when we compare the lumen, that is the diameter, then these arteries are thin as compared to the veins. That is, the diameter or the lumen is thin as compared to veins. Another important function of arteries is that when blood flows inside arteries, it flows at a high pressure and at a high speed, and blood flows in pulses. Another important feature, arteries are deep seated. You cannot see them from outside. They are deep beneath the skin. So arteries are deep seated. And another important point is that they do not have any walls present in them. Now, let us see about veins. Now, veins, what these veins do? They carry blood back to the heart. That is, veins carry impure blood or the deoxygenated blood. That is, the blood which has more amount of carbon dioxide present in it, except for the pulmonary vein which carry pure blood. Now, coming to the walls, veins are very thin walls because in veins blood does not flow at a high pressure. So the veins, they have thin wall. And when you compare the elasticity of veins with arteries, veins are less elastic and they are thick. Their lumen is more, their diameter is more. They are thick tube. Coming to the flow of blood in veins, blood definitely flow at low pressure and also flow slowly. Another important point of veins is that veins are superficial. You can see the veins. They are not deep seated. Up, you can see through the skin, the blue color tube-like structure. They are actually the veins. And most importantly, veins have walls present in them. Now, what's the function of walls? These walls prevent the backflow of blood. Children, apart from arteries and veins, we have one more type of blood vessels, and that is called capillaries. Now, children, look here in this figure. The arteries are shown by these red color structure and veins are shown by these blue tubes. Now, in between arteries and veins, here you can see very thin tube-like structure which are very thin. These thin, or you can say the smallest tubes which are found in the body, that is, they are the capillaries. Now, first of all, coming to the function of capillaries, the most important function of capillaries are that they link up arteries and veins in the tissue. They join these arteries and veins together. And the wall is very thin, very thin. And as I told you, they are very narrow. And pressure in our capillaries is also very less. Blood falls as pressure in capillaries falls as blood passes along it. Now, and here in capillaries also, blood flows very slowly. Again, just like veins, they do not have any walls. So children, we have discussed about arteries, veins and capillaries. Now let us quickly compare the three. Now coming to the first feature on which we can compare the three is direction of blood flow. When we talk about arteries, blood flow away from heart. In case of veins, blood flow back to heart. In case of capillaries, blood flow from arteries to small veins. Coming to the size, arteries are large. Coming to the veins, they are very small. Coming to the capillaries, these are microscopic. Coming to the thickness, arteries are thick-walled. Veins, they are thinner than arteries. Capillaries, very thin. Blood pressure, maximum or high in arteries. In veins, it is low. In capillaries also, it is even lower than veins. When we talk about walls, arteries, they do not have walls. Veins, they have walls, whereas in capillaries also walls are absent. Coming to the tissues which are found in wall, in arteries, they have thick muscle and lot of elastic tissues are found, whereas in case of veins, elastic tissues are not formed, and in case of capillaries also elastic tissues are not formed. So children, in today's class we have discussed about circulatory system, and in parts of circulatory system we have discussed about blood and blood vessels. Heart is remaining, that is the pumping organ of the circulatory system is remaining, which we will be discussing in our next video. So children, I hope the topic of circulatory system is clear to you till this point. Thank you for watching this, and do watch the next video also, then only the topic circulatory system will be clear to you. Thank you children.